Baseball is a game that demands not just skill and athleticism, but also immense patience and composure. Every pitch, every swing, and every play is a test of nerves, but even the most disciplined athletes can find themselves pushed to the edge. Sometimes, the pressure cooker of competition boils over, and emotions erupt in ways no one expects. On August 17, 2025, all eyes turned to a AAA baseball game that would soon become the talk of the sports world. Victor Robles, a Mariners outfielder with major league experience, found himself at the center of a storm. In a moment that stunned fans and teammates alike, Robles lost control in a way rarely seen on the diamond. Known for his electrifying speed and signature flair, Robles was no stranger to high-pressure situations. But on this day, his frustration reached a breaking point. After a tense exchange with the pitcher, Robles' emotions boiled over. In a shocking act, he hurled his bat toward the mound, igniting a dramatic confrontation that left the stadium buzzing. This wasn't just a random outburst, it was the culmination of a long, difficult road back from injury, a grueling rehab process that tested Robles' resolve. Add to that a history of heated encounters with the opposing team, and the stage was set for something explosive. The tension had been simmering for months, if not years. The incident sent shockwaves through the baseball community. It raised urgent questions about player safety, the boundaries of sportsmanship, and the fine line between competitive fire and unacceptable behavior. Coaches, umpires, and league officials were forced to confront the realities of managing intense emotions in a high-stakes environment. Today, we'll take a closer look at what led to this explosive moment. Who is Victor Robles, and what drives him as a player? How did his journey, from major league promise to a challenging stint in AAA, shape the events of that fateful night? Why was a player of his caliber in AAA, fighting to prove himself all over again? What pressures and expectations weighed on his shoulders as he tried to reclaim his place in the big leagues? And what history of rivalry and past altercations set the stage for this unforgettable confrontation? The story goes deeper than a single moment. It's about the grudges, the pride, and the unspoken rules that govern the game. This is more than just a story of lost temper. It's a window into the pressures, passions, and boundaries at the very heart of professional baseball. A world where every action is magnified and every decision can change a career. To truly understand the pressure Victor Robles faced, we need to look back at the circumstances that led him to AAA. This wasn't just a routine assignment. It was a pivotal moment in his career, one that would test his resilience and determination like never before. Robles, once a top prospect and a key piece in the Nationals' outfield, had arrived in Seattle with high expectations. But fate had other plans. Earlier in 2025, while playing for the Mariners, Robles suffered a dislocated shoulder during a spectacular all-out diving catch in center field. The play was a testament to his hustle and defensive prowess, but it came at a steep cost. The injury was severe enough to sideline him for months, casting doubt on his immediate future with the team and raising questions about whether he could return to his previous form. What followed was a grueling period of rehabilitation. Day after day, Robles worked with trainers and physical therapists, pushing through pain and frustration. The road back was long and uncertain, filled with small victories and setbacks. His assignment with the Tacoma Rainiers, Seattle's AAA affiliate, wasn't just about getting reps. It was the final hurdle before he could rejoin a Mariners squad hungry for a playoff run. Every swing, every sprint, every throw was scrutinized, not just by coaches but by Robles himself. Before the injury, Robles had been off to a promising start in Seattle. In his first 10 games after the trade from the Nationals, he was batting .273, showing flashes of the talent that once made him a top prospect. His speed on the bases and his glove in the outfield were making an impact, and fans were beginning to believe he could be a difference-maker for the Mariners. But the injury brought all that momentum to a sudden halt. Instead of helping his new team chase a postseason berth, Robles found himself on the sidelines, his arm in a sling, forced to watch as his teammates battled on without him. The frustration was palpable. His focus shifted from contributing on the field to simply getting healthy enough to play again. Rehab assignments in the minors are never easy, especially for players who have tasted the big leagues. The mental challenge can be just as tough as the physical one. Players are away from the spotlight, facing younger, hungry opponents eager to prove themselves. Every at-bat, every play, carries extra weight, as the pressure to perform and prove you're ready to return mounts with each passing day. For Robles, this was supposed to be a controlled environment, a place to regain his timing, rebuild his confidence, and show the Mariners he was ready. Coaches and trainers monitored his progress closely, offering encouragement and advice. The plan was simple: get back to full strength, avoid setbacks, and prepare for a triumphant return to the majors. But as we'll see, the reality was far more complicated. The minor leagues can be unpredictable, and for Robles, what was meant to be a routine rehab stint quickly spiraled into something much more intense. Emotions ran high, tempers flared, and the pressure cooker environment threatened to derail his comeback. The final step of his recovery would take a volatile turn, testing not just his physical limits, but his mental toughness as well. For Victor Robles, the journey back to the majors was about to reach its most critical and unpredictable moment. Robles' outburst wasn't an isolated event. It was the boiling point of a long, painful history with the A's organization and pitcher Joey Estes. This wasn't just a single moment of frustration, but the culmination of months of tension, bruises, and unspoken animosity. For Robles, every game against the A's felt like stepping into a minefield, never knowing if the next pitch would be a challenge to his resilience or a threat to his career. In just 5 rehab games, Robles had been hit by a pitch 3 times, one by Estes himself just days before the incident. Each time, the sting of the ball was more than physical. It was a reminder of the ongoing battle between him and the A's. The repeated plunkings weren't just bad luck, they felt like a message, intentional or not, that Robles wasn't welcome back on the field. The pattern stretched back to the majors. In 2024, Robles was hit twice in one game by A's pitchers, including Estes. That day, the dugouts buzzed with tension, and Robles' teammates watched anxiously, knowing the history was building with every pitch. The umpires issued warnings, but the damage was already done, both to Robles' body and to the fragile trust between the teams. Since 2024, the A's had hit Robles 4 times. Each incident added another layer to the rivalry, fueling speculation among fans and analysts about whether it was all just coincidence or something more deliberate. The numbers told a story of their own, a story of repeated collisions and unresolved conflict. For a player recovering from injury, repeated hit-by pitches feel personal, a threat to health and career. Every bruise was a setback, every close call a reminder of how quickly things could go wrong. Robles had worked tirelessly to get back on the field, and each hit-by pitch risked undoing all that progress, both physically and mentally. Whether intentional or not, Robles likely felt targeted. The glances exchanged between him and Estes grew colder, the tension more palpable with every at-bat. In baseball, intent is hard to prove, but the feeling of being singled out is impossible to ignore. This simmering frustration set the stage for what was about to happen. Teammates watched with bated breath, fans leaned forward in their seats, and even the coaches sensed that something was about to give. The air was thick with anticipation, as if everyone knew that the next confrontation could change everything. The tension was real, the history undeniable. Every player on the field could feel it, and the crowd's energy only amplified the sense that this was more than just another game. It was a battle for respect, for pride, and for the right to stand tall after months of adversity. For Robles, this was more than a game. It was about respect and self-preservation. He wasn't just fighting for a win. He was fighting to prove he belonged, to show he wouldn't be intimidated or pushed aside. Every step to the plate was a statement, every swing a declaration that he wouldn't back down. The next at-bat would push him over the edge. The confrontation was inevitable, a collision of history, pride, and pent-up frustration that had been building for far too long. In that moment, everything would come to a head, and the world would be watching to see how Robles would respond. In the 3rd inning, Robles faced Estes again, tension thick in the air. Estes delivered a high and tight pitch, buzzing Robles near the head and shoulder. Robles swung, perhaps defensively, narrowly avoiding being hit. That was the final straw. In a flash of anger, Robles picked up his bat and hurled it toward the mound. The bat missed, but the message was clear, and the consequences immediate. Home plate umpire Joe McCarthy ejected Robles on the spot. Robles gestured furiously, moving toward the mound before teammates and the umpire restrained him. Chaos erupted, but a full-scale brawl was narrowly avoided. The confrontation was over, but the fallout had just begun. Robles' ejection was swift, but his anger lingered. As he left, he tossed a container of sunflower seeds onto the field, a final act of defiance. The game resumed, but the atmosphere was changed. For Tacoma, it meant losing a key player on the verge of returning to the majors. For Las Vegas, it created tension and the threat of retaliation. The Mariners now faced uncertainty. Robles' status was complicated and a suspension loomed. The incident went viral, sparking debate. Some sympathized, others condemned. It became a case study in how quickly pressure can push a pro athlete over the line. To understand Robles' reaction, we must look at baseball's unwritten code. Pitchers are expected to pitch inside, but throwing near a batter's head is taboo, a direct threat to safety. A 90-mile fastball near the head isn't just strategy, it's dangerous. When a batter feels targeted, especially after a history of being hit, anger is inevitable. It's about self-preservation, pride, and sending a message. I won't be intimidated. For Robles, this wasn't just one pitch, it was the latest in a series of painful encounters. The cumulative frustration, combined with rehab stress, created a perfect storm. While throwing a bat is never acceptable, the anger comes from a place of defending oneself. In baseball's intense pitcher-batter duel, emotions can explode. On this day they did. Baseball's official rules are clear. Throwing equipment at another player is a severe violation. Robles' act was seen as deliberate aggression, not just a loss of temper. Rule 6.04 gives umpires broad authority to eject players for dangerous conduct. Player safety is paramount. Throwing a bat could cause catastrophic injury. The league is expected to respond with a significant penalty to send a message. Robles' veteran status offers no leniency. He's expected to set an example. This was more than an ejection. It was a serious breach of baseball's core values. With the incident under league review, Robles faces a lengthy suspension, likely spanning both minors and majors. Even if healthy, he can't return to the Mariners until serving his penalty, a blow to both player and team in a playoff race. The Mariners must now weigh his readiness, his conduct, and the impact on their season. Internally, Robles may face further discipline and tough conversations about professionalism. His relationship with the organization could be affected beyond this season. Among peers, some may sympathize, but many will see his actions as reckless. Rebuilding trust with teammates, the league, and opponents will be crucial. The road back is about more than serving a suspension. Robles must prove this was an uncharacteristic lapse, not a pattern. His future now depends on how he responds. The Robles incident is a cautionary tale about passion, frustration, and the limits of sportsmanship. It highlights the pressures athletes face and the importance of channeling emotion within the rules. Throwing a bat crosses a line, endangering others and threatening the game's integrity. The story forces a conversation about accountability and emotional control. For fans, it's a reminder that players are human, under immense stress. For the league, it's a call to enforce safety and uphold standards. The image of Robles' outburst will linger, a lesson in the consequences of losing control. Baseball thrives on passion, but only when respect and safety come first.